It's the We Want Picks post-weigh-in show. I'm Minty Bets, and we've got UFC 304 this Saturday in Manchester, England. This is the show where I watch the weigh-ins for you, so you don't have to. The main event is a welterweight title bout between Leon Edwards and Belal Muhammad. We've also got an interim title fight between Tom Aspinall and Curtis Blaydes. Now, both Belal and Leon fought once before, and it ended in a no contest pretty early into the fight. Aspinall and Blaydes have also fought before, and that ended in a loss for Aspinall due to a knee injury. So, this will be a true test of those four fighters coming back together, and we cross our fingers that all four fighters will be of full strength throughout the duration of the fights. I'm really excited for it. So before we begin, be sure to head over to WeWantPicks.com and become a premium member to unlock all the betting tools on the site, as well as Jacob's and Angelo's picks for the card. They've been doing amazing so far, so go support my guys over at WeWantPicks.com. Leon Edwards was the first fighter to weigh in. Current champs successfully defend their belts at a clip of over 64%. And another interesting nugget, UFC title fights have ended by decision over 70% of the time. Thank you, Yanni, for those numbers. Leon came in this morning at 170 pounds, looking nice and lean. And at long last, Belal Muhammad gets his title shot, coming in with 5 straight wins. Can he make it a 6th with a belt? We shall see. Belal Muhammad is Jacob's Lock of the Week, and I absolutely love it because I am also on Belal Muhammad. He came in at 169 pounds. In the interim heavyweight title bout, we've got Tom Aspinall and Curtis Blaydes. As mentioned earlier, Curtis took the first fight, and although Tom was injured and couldn't go any longer, this fight still fits into this category. Since 2010, the winner of the first fight typically goes on to win the rematch over 70% of the time. But I love Tom in this one. He came in weighing 251 pounds, and Curtis Blaydes looking good, weighing 256 pounds. Next up, this is going to be a fun one. Paddy Pimblett and King Green. I didn't bet this fight because I was so undecided all week, but I think I like Paddy to win this one. Paddy's still undefeated in the UFC, and he is coming off a victory against Tony Ferguson. Paddy came in weighing 156 pounds, and Green recently came off a victory against Jim Miller at UFC 300. He's the slight favorite here, and this morning he weighed 154.5 pounds, looking nice and cut. Next up, Christian Leroy Duncan and Gregory Rodriguez face off at 185. I feel like CLD is a very popular pick this week. I know so many people betting on him. Both Christian and Gregory came in looking excellent at 185 pounds. Love this next one, and it is opening up the main card, Arnold Allen and Giga Chikadze. Arnold's last 2 losses were to top-tier guys. I absolutely love Arnold Allen to win here, and I think I'm going to bet him to win by decision. Allen looked great, and he weighed 145 pounds. Chikadze actually requested a box right when he stepped onto the stage without even having stepped onto the scale yet. And he's such a thin, long guy, I was a little surprised, but he made weight at 146. In the featherweight featured prelim, we've got Nathaniel Wood at 145 pounds, and his opponent, Daniel Pineda, came in at 146. Next up, Molly McCann and Bruna Brazil. Bruna just came off a loss from my girl, Loma Lubunmi, while Molly's stepping down to strawweight. She is coming off a win to Diana Belbita. Both ladies weighed 116 pounds, but Bruna looked a little bit better compared to Molly. Next up, the bantamweights, Jake Hadley and Keelan Longren? Cowlin? I don't know. John pronounced it Keelan, and I feel wrong. I like this fight. Hadley requested a box as he was second to last on the scale. He's coming in on short notice and weighed 137 pounds, which is 1 pound over the bantamweight limit. Don't believe he has enough time to make weight as I'm filming this. Meanwhile, Cowlin stepped on the scale at 136, looking very unhappy. At light heavyweight, Modestas Bukauskas came in at 204, looking good, and Marcin Prachnio came in at 205. Not super impressive. Next up, we've got Oban Elliott and Preston Parsons at welterweight. Parsons weighed 169, while Elliott looking nice and lean, weighing 170 pounds. Next up, why are Muhammad why are Mohammed Mukayev and Manel Kape on the early prelims? Like, why were they dropped down to this? This has such great potential, but I get if UFC was worried about Manel not making weight again or something along those lines. Like, it's easier to lose a really early fight than a main card one. Normally, I'd side with Manel Kape in this one, and there's something there that really intrigues me about him, but I feel like Mukayev might be the safer pick here. I know Mukayev is still undefeated in the UFC, and his weigh-in was a little weird. He looked great, walked up on stage, and I believe he was requesting a box, like right when he walked up, and he was told to step right onto the scale. He was like moving around, looking left and right for the box, and bada bing, bada boom, 126 was yelled out. And it was just like very quick, and he was like not still on the scale. So it was a very weird weigh-in, but he made weight at 126. Manel Kape, who actually weighed before Mukayev, finally makes weight at 125.5 pounds. I know a lot of people were expecting him not to make weight given his track record, but he did. So the fight's on. And guys, I have found Jacob's skinnier doppelganger, and it is Sam Patterson.
Real quick, I'm editing this video. Just heard her say that.
He came in at 170 pounds. Jacob, don't hate me. And Kiefer Crosby, my goodness, great smile, nicer body. He weighed 171. Next up at heavyweight, we've got Lucas Dresky and Mick Parkin. And I'm not gonna lie, and this is very, very random, I think about the way Lucas Dresky is spelled all the time. Literally every day I have a series of the same thoughts going on in my head, and the spelling of his name drives me nuts, but at the same time it is so cool. So I now want to go to Poland and read all the street signs. He stepped onto the scale at 235, and man, he looks wonderful. Also, I knew a kid who was moving to Poland when I was in the 3rd grade, and it was hilarious because when he found out he was moving to Poland, the weeks leading up to like his last day of school, that kid did absolutely nothing in class. He talked so much shit to the teacher and was like, fuck this, I'm moving to Poland, my life's over, I'm not doing this. Anyway, so every time I think of Poland, I think of that kid from my 3rd grade class. Hope he's doing okay. Meanwhile, Mick Parkin looks like such a sweet guy. The big boy weighed 264 pounds. And the fight to start the night, Shauna Bannon and Alice Ardelean. Shauna last lost to Bruna Brazil, who I mentioned earlier on this card. She weighed 115 pounds, and she's going up against Alice Ardelean, who is making her UFC debut on short notice. She was also the final fighter to be weighed and also needed the box, but alas, Alice weighed 116 pounds. And that is it, my friends. 14 fights this Saturday. I do believe it is a little unfair that these fighters have to wake up at like 2 a.m. to fight. I mean, fight at 2 a.m., I should say. Because I'm positive that all of us would be awake to watch the fights if they were on at a normal time for the home country. Just saying. My picks are on UFC Fight Pass's On the Line betting show. I went light with this one, and I pretty much gave you guys all my picks on this show. So subscribe to the channel and come back next week for the post-weigh-in show for UFC Fight Night in Abu Dhabi. Corey Sandhagen versus Umar Nurmagomedov.